What up, homie? My name's Dave, and for a long time, I was a loser. Some of the haters still probably think I am, but fuck them. But over the years, I broke out of my loser mentality and saw success socially, financially, and physically. I went from living at my mama's house and not being able to get a girl to save my life to traveling the world, dating a bunch of different girls, and running a 6-figure online business. Today, I'm gonna show you how I did that and how you can apply the same things to your life so you can start crushing it as well. Let's hop into it.
I tried so hard, but all these scars, they cut so deep, I bleed. I fell so fast from heaven, it's like someone clipped my wings. Now I'm falling.
So the main two things you gotta know about me when I was younger is that I needed validation from everybody, and I also did not believe in myself. I didn't think that I had what it took to really do anything, whether it be making money, getting girls, having really any level of success in life. I didn't know how I could get there, didn't think it was possible, and didn't even see a point in trying. In terms of the validation, I felt like everything I did was only to look cool. I wanted to be one of the popular kids. I wanted to be seen with some respect, but it felt like no matter what I did, I was always kind of on the outside looking in. And this led me to do all types of dumb shit. Like I got in a fight with the same dude 3 times over all 3 years of middle school, 1 time each year. And it wasn't even that I didn't like the kid. It was just that I didn't want to look like a bitch for getting beat up by somebody who was a little bit shorter than me. This also led to me being super shy because I felt like I could only say something that would impress other people. And if I didn't have anything that would impress anyone, I just wouldn't talk. The worst part was I felt like I was sort of imprisoned into this life. Like it didn't feel like there was anything I could do to get out of it, nothing I could learn. And even when I started to get out of my shell a little bit more through the end of high school and beginning of college, that need for validation was still there in a big way. All of these things plagued me throughout most of my younger years up into my early 20s, and I was kind of a loser, like I said. Now, let's talk about how I overcame them.
Standing on the edge of a cliff, realize there must be more to life than this. Reaching for the
So you might be wondering, all right, how did this little dweeb get out of all these limiting beliefs? What really happened? There had to be something big, right? Well, there were really 2 main turning points. The first was that when I was 14 years old, the summer right before I started 9th grade, my house burned down. It didn't burn all the way down to a crisp, but it was significantly fucked up enough to the point where we had to move to a smaller apartment for like a year while it was getting rebuilt and fixed up. This was my first kind of wake-up call that, like, yo, nothing is guaranteed. You never know what can happen. And over that year is when I started getting a lot deeper. I started thinking deeper, started writing poetry, started writing like raps on MySpace blogs. You might even say that was sort of the spark that led to me becoming a copywriter later in life and writing books and things like that. It was the first point where I really started to put a focus on my creativity. The second turning point was my mom getting sick. My mom had a really bad lung disease for like 7 to 8 years, and during that time, she was hanging in there pretty well, even though there were some tough times. It was really difficult for her to walk up the stairs and stuff. But when I was about like 22, the disease really took a turn for the worst, and she ended up going into a coma. Matter of fact, the doctors walked us into his office and said, listen, your mom has a 2% chance to live. At that moment, shit was looking pretty bleak. They ended up flying her out to Cleveland while in a coma. She was hooked up on this machine called ECMO, but I didn't think I was ever gonna see her again. So she sat there at the Cleveland hospital waiting for a lung transplant. Everything was looking bleak. And on the last possible day, like they were gonna let her go, let her die if this didn't happen. On the very last possible day, a set of lungs came in that matched her blood type, matched her body, and they did the transplant. She survived the double lung transplant, went through rehab, and we're here 7 or 8 years later. She's still alive and healthy today. It's crazy, and really, truly, it's a miracle. But what that really taught me was like, fuck man, life is way too short to play it safe. This really brought out my risk-taking side and made me want more out of life. It made me want to really milk the years that I have for all they've got, and knowing that I don't have anything guaranteed. That's a lesson most people learn way too late.
I wake up, flex, thumb down, that check, no drip, this wet. Tell 'em run it up. might crash, but first I time to run it up.
So between 14 and like 22, when I had a couple of these turning points, that's when I started to gather more knowledge. Like I had an idea of some things that were possible, but I didn't really know how to put them into words. I wasn't really certain about a lot of things. So that's why I started taking more online courses. I started reading more books to kind of expand my sense of what was possible and what I could actually do. So this led me to reading books like The Game by Neil Strauss and like The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. And although, some of the techniques in both of these books are pretty outdated in terms of both dating and business wise, they kind of planted the seed in my head about what was possible. Like it was possible to go talk to girls around the world, travel around, do whatever you want, and make money online. And once I knew that was a possibility, that seed was planted in my head. Like there was no doubt in my mind that I was gonna try to figure out how to do something like that, even if it killed me. So the first thing I started doing was improving my game. So I would go out multiple times every single weekend for 3 to 4 hours a night. So I was going out about like 5 to 10 hours every single weekend for several years. And in that time, I talked to thousands of girls, made tons of embarrassing mistakes, but I got a lot better, significantly better, even to the point where I realized I was progressing a lot faster than the average person. A couple years into improving my game, that's when I really had a hunger to start learning online business as well. And I asked myself, what skill is really gonna help me here? And I realized I always enjoyed writing, especially from back in my MySpace days, posting out those creative blogs and poems and stuff. So I thought, fuck it, why not learn copywriting? So that's what I did. I sat down, learned it, the ins and outs of copywriting for 6 months. Now, of course, I made a lot of really dumb mistakes with online business as well, but at the end of the day, it only took me like 4 to 5 months before I found like a low-paying online copywriting gig that allowed me to start traveling the world. And if I could go back in time now, knowing what I do, I would have been able to do that even probably within 2 months. And bro, all this action, both in my dating life and in my business life, completely changed everything. Now, if you want to start gathering the right knowledge and taking a bunch of action yourself, especially during these quarantines where a lot of people are just losing momentum, if you want to start building momentum, then I got something awesome for you, bro. My dating and flirting course, Casanova Academy, is still on a 70% off sale for the next few days. In it, you're gonna learn how to effortlessly start conversations, how to talk to any girl, how to flirt like a boss. You're gonna learn the best lessons that took me years and thousands of hours of approaching girls to learn. I'm giving it all to you right here. Now, if you wanna be a part of that, if you wanna take advantage of that sale, just click the first link in the description. Do it right now though, because like I said, it's only going to be available for a few more days. Hit that first link in the description. Massively shortcut your time. Let's get it.
Hold on when you need a friend, I'll never let you go again. Reach out when your mind's uneasy.
Another thing that really accelerated my progress was that throughout all this action I was taking, I came into contact with people in different industries and different areas that were really just killing the game. Like dudes in business who were making $50,000, $100,000 a month, dudes in dating who were just completely crushing it, getting the hottest girls, and guys in fitness who were just completely changing the game in fitness, guys like How to Beast. As I became friends with these people from all around the world, I started to realize what was really possible. Like, fuck, man, this guy's not that much smarter than me. Like, we're kind of on the same level and he's making $100,000 a month. Like, what can I really do? The thing is, as you take more action, people like this are gonna respect you. They're gonna see the hustle and they're gonna wanna be around you too. So if you have a chance to connect with these types of people, take it seriously and make the connection. Most people see life in a very limited way. It's sort of in a box. They don't really know the true possibility. So when you see people crushing it at these insanely high levels, you realize, wow, like the world is a lot different than I actually thought it was. And that forces you to push yourself further. And if you're doing that, it's impossible to be a loser.
I never wanna look back and wish I could have been. I never got no regret. The hours I've been putting in, so take a chance on faith.
So at this point, I was starting to see some success, but I still wasn't really where I wanted to be. Now, what really kicked things into high gear was me betting on myself. Now, I learned the power of betting and investing in myself early on when I bought that first plane ticket to Vietnam, went out there, ended up meeting a bunch of entrepreneurs, and that really kicked off, my whole online business journey. So I knew, it was a big piece of the puzzle. And I also recall the dating courses I went through when I was first getting started trying to improve with girls, and those massively accelerated my progress as well. So I thought maybe it's time to start doing this with business. So I started making big investments in myself, and first it was with YouTube. I spent thousands of dollars on YouTube coaches, YouTube courses, trying to figure this whole thing out and get better at it and really build an audience that cared about what I was talking about and that I could help. That really helped speed things up for me on YouTube. And then I thought about doing the same thing with business, so I started hiring business coaches and consultants, and that started filling in the gaps for me in places I wasn't sure how to move forward, and that really helped me to make a lot more money than I was before. The way I've always seen it is when I feel like something is right, maybe like making a big investment in myself, which I just recently did, then I move the fuck in, even if I'm a little bit afraid. Sure, it might not always work out perfectly in the end, but I'd rather have faith in myself and my decisions rather than second guessing myself and living in fear of what could happen like a little bitch. In the long run, I know I will win by consistently betting on myself, and that's one big thing I credit with a lot of the success that I've had up to this point. But most people don't see that, and they remain right where they are forever.
I was born to be victorious. Most definitely victorious. I'm destined to be victorious. Through all the hate that displayed, we remain warriors.
So yeah, this is sort of my journey from loser to seeing some level of success in a lot of different areas. And bro, if I can do it, trust me, you can too. I ain't that smart, I ain't that special. I know you can also make it happen. All you gotta do is follow a similar process. Remember, there is no final failure until you give up. And you're always going to regret not taking action rather than taking the incorrect action. So stop living life like a bitch like the way I used to do when I was younger. Embrace failure, embrace rejection, and play the game of life to win. You've only got one shot at this life, so fucking act like it. Milk it for every last drop, because nobody is going to pity you if you're sitting there on your deathbed with all these regrets. It's on you to make the most of this opportunity. So go out there and crush it. Now, bro, before I hop off here, one more quick reminder to check out Casanova Academy. Just hit that first link in the description. You're gonna get all the details and be able to get that 70% discount. I'll see you in the inside, bro, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.